I'm Aaron Meyer with co-host Robert Wire. This is the 19-9 podcast. On today's episode, Robert and I circle back around to talk to former Indiana basketball player and current player development coach and owner of Attack Basketball Academy, Charlie Miller. He has such a deep and insightful way of breaking down the game behind the game.
For me, if you go off the formal name of my company, POA, it stands for Plan, Organize, and Attack. And that's what I'm looking at. So what am I teaching more? I mean, it's only so many things we do with the ball, guys. It's more off the court. How can we prep? How can we prepare? Like going off of an old Coach Knight saying, everybody can win. Everybody wants to win. Very few people prepare to win.
We also get Charlie's take on name, image, likeness, the new law that is quickly reshaping the amateur ranks. He has some interesting stories around name, image, likeness, and we finish by having Charlie draft his top 5 NIL players in IU history.
Try and get like not the names that we would think of.
I like you're giving deep cuts.
I would go last but not least, the mask, Harris Uzinovich.
Yes.
Those masks are so like crazy, bro.
Oh my gosh. You even got a product ready for him too.
Do you know the story about the mask? Do you know about it? Do you know the story? Are you ready for it?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so here it is.
It's time to start the show.
Isn't it amazing when Michigan can keep this game to a 19-foot 9-inch game inside that three-point line? It's all theirs. Nice move by Steve Fisher here. Turn it into the 19-9.
Welcome to the 19-9 podcast, Charlie Miller. It's one of my favorite times of year, and I wanted to check in. My first question is just about what this time of year brings to your mind, Charlie. Just thinking about October. It's right before the NBA started their training camps, but it's right before high school, college get kicked off. What does it bring to mind for you this time as a former player, and then just thinking about the guys that you've been developing over the summer? What's the mindset you try to bring for them?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for the question, Aaron. Robert, hope you're doing well too, man.
What's up?
But for me, you're about a month away from the season, pretty much all around the country. Football is kind of coming to a tail end, high school. So which, with respect, I don't care about. Whatever.
You better watch out. You're in Texas. You better watch out.
So what? Right. I don't play. Right?
Yeah,
so anyway,
I hear you.
But just so you got, for example, you got some girls I train. They're gonna start up in probably about 3 weeks, around the 20th of October. I saw the intro to Who's Your Hysteria. We're gonna talk about that.
Yes.
Saw the intro, watched the intro on Facebook. Somebody was gracious enough to record it. So you're about a month away. You got the young kids too, middle school tryouts. If you guys can take yourselves back to that, where you gotta make the left hand layup and full court layup, and so real talk, I'm stomaching through some of those workouts. All right, you should have came to me about 8 months ago, but I get it.
It's getting real.
The magic pill. I got it.
Oh, I love it.
That's good stuff. That is.
Yeah, I think that for me, what made this time of year so special is that I put in the work, and so excited to just get out there with the other guys and be able to see the difference out there in competitive atmospheres, because it was just different when you get back with your team and around your teammates.
Yeah,
so
and another thing I'm gonna share, and you asked me a question, I'm gonna just be vulnerable. It was never a question for me, am I gonna make my high school team?
Right.
So the thought process is, I may have just came off of playing, around the country, AAU, invitational camps or whatever. So here it is, you're like a month away. I'm in cross country, believe it or not, in high school. I'm in cross country. We're running probably like the first quarter of it, only just because our high school coach was the basketball coach was the cross country coach. He just wanted to do it for conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
So he didn't care if we ran or not. We all ran crazily fast the first leg. I was like, I walk.
Yeah.
So because you're focusing on, seriously, because you're focusing on like the season,
Yeah.
right? But if you fast forward now, you take the player hat off, Charlie, from a coach standpoint. Now for me, it's like a little different. I look at it in quadrants, right?
Okay.
I look at it as 4 seasons as we have, but like you're coming up into what I would call, you went out of really the summer, which is like what I call a deficiency season. You got to work on things you got to get better at. A lot of times coaches at the high school level, middle school level, not really communicating with players got to get better at. So it's like a guess. So for me, it's like, hey, you got to ask your coaches. So I don't want to just work in vain on stuff that I need you to get better at. You got to get better at what you're going. Your minutes are predicated on you showing up different, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that deficiency season to that prep season, this is the prep season for me. So we're not introducing new concepts. It's like what we worked on in the spring, summer. This is it. I got to get used to it. You got to get used to now. Player movement, ball reversals, hard cuts, three dribbles to the basket. The AAU mentality, what I call all about you, doesn't exist now. It's about that team, right? And the coach don't care what you did on your little AAU team after you're 17.
Yeah.
They don't care about that.
They don't care about what they worked with you. They just want to see what you improved at.
Well, exactly. And you said something that's vital. And literally, it's like a fight because I want to gain a relationship with coaches because I'm a compliment.
Yeah.
A lot. Again, okay, I've been doing this 11 years, fellas, and I can honestly say that this niche business of mine, I think I've thrived in a sense of being able to survive because I'm looking to be a conduit between player development and what the coaches are asking for. I'm not just trying to do it for, okay, Coach Robert says you got to work on ABC. I'm like, nah, he don't know what he's talking about. No, we need to focus on what Coach Robert, how can you get better at that? Because that's what's going to matter the most. Working out with me is cool, but I don't have a relationship with Coach Robert.
Right.
And that's the challenging thing about it. It's tough too to have relationships because relationships with coaches as a player development coach, especially if you have a team or two, you have to be careful because now some parents may say, well, this player's only playing because they're playing for the coach they have a relationship with. So, and I totally get, they call it here UIL. I think it's like University Interscholastic League. That's the league that governs sports. So,
got it.
There's a thin line there as far as support and help, at least on my side. But I try to do my best at getting to know the coaches and understand the coaches' talk and mentality. Because a lot of times players just don't communicate. Why are you not playing? I don't know. They don't like it. Well, it's a little more than that.
Yeah.
Something you're doing in practice, something you're not doing in practice.
Right.
Is a direct result of the minutes that you're playing or not playing, right?
Yeah. So do some of your players come in with the mindset of what they need to do, or do you find that it really is from the coaches? Because there's that crossover point where I think that as a player you realize what you need to do, but not everybody does, and especially working with younger people, that's a little bit of a different dynamic.
It is, and you're right, and that's just kind of like for me. If you go off the formal name of my company, POA, it stands for Plan, Organize, and Attack. And that's what I'm looking at. So what am I teaching more? I mean, it's only so many things we do with the ball, guys. It's more off the court. How can we prep? How can we prepare? Like going off of an old Coach Knight saying, everybody can win. Everybody wants to win. Very few people prepare to win. And preparation to me is first and foremost. Before we go to that court, like, I sometimes do this, like not trying to say, I'm trying to be better than other people. Like I sometimes do Zoom calls before we even hit the court with parents, with players, because we can train, anybody can train you. Like, what do you want out of this? Let's figure this out. And then from here, let's create a game plan of action, right? A GPS, a game plan for success. Because, if you just want workouts here, there, then you can go to a small group for that. Like, go get what you need to go get for that interim fix versus trying to grow a relationship.
Yeah. I love that.
And then understanding more and more, what is your coach saying? What is he not saying? What is she not saying? Do you all do evaluations? Do you give this coach this evaluation? Let them fill it out. Give it to your peers. What do they think about you? So I'm just trying to give them a different light and a different aspect.
Let's switch gears a little bit. And you mentioned before we got on that you'd seen some of the Hoosier Hysteria stuff.
Yeah.
So what'd you get? What'd you get? And give us your take on
what
it.
I saw was the introduction. Man, those candy stripe shorts were like,
Oh yeah.
lit. I want to find a way to get paid.
They got to get you a pair, right?
Man, that was nice.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like those.
It was cool. It was good because it's different. Like, it almost like blasphemous because I'm like, y'all got music going and rap music and dancing and
yeah.
what the hell is this? The girls coming out. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of having fun with it, going to my intrinsic self. I'm like, okay, that tells me a lot about that person.
Yeah.
That music selection.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, Mike Woodson came out to
Big Papa.
another one you call me Big Papa.
I know. I heard that. I was like,
That's
wow, he's
quick.
going big.
Yeah.
He
messing
came
around.
out to that,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That goes back to the New York days for me. When he was in New York, you got to think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Hell, he was probably in New York when Big was big,
Yeah.
pun intended. When Notorious B.I.G. was still around, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
But and I'm sorry I lost you guys via
You're
camera,
fine, man.
but yeah. So, but all in, man, it was pretty interesting to understand the music selection, and then just to see Isaiah Thomas come out, how emotional he
Right.
got towards the whole process. That was cool to watch, and just really the whole setup. It was different because I can't say I experienced that from a player standpoint, but it was cool to watch.
So, do you know a lot about the new? Have you seen a lot of the IU players that came in, and how do you think that they're going to fit together? With so many different new players.
Well, I don't. Only thing I can go off of is what I looked to put two and two together on what I would hear they did over the summer, and I also do Indiana Sports Beat on Mondays with a guy named Jim Coyle, and we've had Miller Kopp on, we've had Tamar Bates on, so I had a chance to speak to those guys and watch film too on those guys too, and what they did over in Bahamas, it closed, and you hear about it. So my thing is, I think for me, I'm going to be a little bit more open. I'm going to be a little bit more open and give them some room to grow because I know there's a lot of excitement. It's almost sometimes overwhelming because you have all this welcome back. You got all this fanfare. How much are we focusing on the game, right? Dane Fife coming back and what he did as a player. Are we going to overshadow the coaches over the players, right? Can we give the players room to grow? Now, what does it mean to me? I don't know, but they're picked middle of the road, the Big Ten, right? Pick seventh, come in. I feel that's about right.
Yeah.
I feel because it's not like, just because you got new coaches, you're going to win a game or two. So you got to show up. If I'm going off of what they did last year, I'm going to go off of the game at Rutgers. If you guys remember, they were up 15, ended up losing up 15, crushing it. Yep. All of a sudden, they're down by 15. That's a 30-point swing.
Yeah.
And that, to me, was a testament of what was going on in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
That was a testament of guys who just gave up. Been on both sides of that as a coach and a player. And again, I'm not in the locker room, but a lot of that, you're up by 15, up by 12. Can you maintain, or is that old mentality going to come in? Yeah, you got new teammates. Yeah. What's going to happen? So we'll see in about a month, right? We'll see. You're going to play against teams you're going to probably beat until you play the top teams. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, with a team like this, don't you think that it'll take, maybe the middle of the season for them to really mesh? Or do you think that because of the Bahamas trip, they might be able to start out playing better together?
I feel the first part you said. I think it's gonna take some time because you still got to get to rotations. You don't know, Again, as a player, I remember having great preseason. Then all of a sudden, the season start. You don't start off well. You never know what happens, right?
Yeah.
You never know injuries, right? So you hope that you give them the opportunity to mesh, and you want them to be full throttle. Kind of around Christmas break, going into the Big Ten to
Well,
make a run.
What you're saying too is that, your teams aren't defined by those early successes. They're defined by how they, are going to deal with adversity, right? So it's going to be last year's team crumpled on some ways in some games, and can this year's team, when they hit that adversity, bounce back, grow from it, or or else they'll.
Well, and you don't really know
spot.
anybody until we when it's all great in the beginning, but like it's now we lost a game or two. How are we going to show up at practice?
Yep.
We were up, we were down, so, now the response from Coach Woodson versus the response that you would get from Coach Miller, before. So, and yes, you have some new pieces. Yeah. But yet now those new pieces still got to gel. Still got to gel. They still got to come together. You got to understand your rotations. Are you going to go big, little? What's going to be how are you going to define it? What, like 4 round 1, what's it going to look like? To me, I think the X factor, guys, is going to be race.
Yeah.
To me, that's the guy. Like, I want to see him score more.
Huh.
Like, I think he's going to be the X factor to me.
How much can you expect, like improvement for college guys? Like when you're thinking about it, because the better you get, sometimes you get closer to your sort of limit. I mean, you can always make improvements, but there's only like some guys will have like a big jump, and sometimes it'll be just a little bit of improvement. So I mean, is there like a fair amount that you can expect from guys at the college level?
So let's break that down, because implicitly when we talk about an improvement. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong there.
Yeah.
When we talk about improvement in a jump, you'll see somebody's scoring average go up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, okay, he went from averaging 8 points, now he's at 17. Wow, what happened? Well, if we're talking about scoring the ball, in a sense, to me, what's happened, that player has gotten more margin for error. That, to me, is what improves.
Interesting. Something
has happened to where there's more trust in that player to go play. And it's funny I bring that up, because that is what I heard Coach Woodson say to those guys. Go play it during his speech. Just go play.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to listen back to it, to the exact part, because I was gonna talk about it tomorrow. But literally, I say, man, he is giving those guys room to play. Let me figure this out. You guys be kids, man, and play the way you love, know, and respect this game.
So the prime example for that is Rob Finney, right? Like his confidence was shot, obviously. I mean, he's obviously a great talent if he can just mentally, believe in himself, right?
Well, right. And to me, he was pretty much the role of the defensive stopper. Right. So if and again, I wasn't in the locker room, and I'm only going off of what I would see, and when I did go watch them play Penn State a couple of years ago, he was, his assignment was to guard, an NBA type player. And now, that takes a toll, man, because your focus is on, looking to make it tough for somebody to score, shoot low percentage shots, and now you might be robbing yourself of opportunities on offense, right? And to me, he's a pass first player, right? We all could score the ball coming out of high school, wherever. But I want to see him take on more of a role, right? I do, right?
Yeah.
So, can he take on more of a role as somebody who can finish around the rim? I think he's quick, fast. If you can guard the guys who score the ball, you, just like you said, you can read the tendencies on how to score the ball yourself. You talk about your son, Rob.
Yeah. So let's just twist it a little bit here, and while we're talking about like how the team maybe didn't mesh next year, and talk a little about the name and likeness. Like, one of the questions that I have is, how do you think that it's going to affect teams when they bring in this player and they get paid this money, right? And then they don't show up, I say show up. They don't play up to the potential, and then you got players that have been there for 4 years, that have been working their tail off, and they ain't got no deal, right?
Right.
So what does that do to a locker room, and how is that going to work out, in your opinion?
Well, that's interesting, because I kind of had that same thought process when it first came out, right? You know, because let's face it, you got now the networks are showing who has a top social media following.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like,
Like the
okay,
first thing that's like the first thing you hear, right?
yeah. So somebody's coming in with 300, 400,000 followers, and all of a sudden you have somebody giving them a deal or her deal, and and they're a dud or they're not making it. Yeah, there's going to be some eyes cutting,
Hmm.
but then now that's what they have to worry about because they may lose the following. They may lose their sponsorships
Hmm.
in their NIL likeness, right? So I think that's more of an internal thing, right? To the teammates. And to the flip side to that, that's now what schools are touting. We have somebody who can help you with that.
Yeah.
Right. I know IU hired somebody, I believe.
Yeah, they got a firm.
Who can help become a liaison, because that's to me is what's going to come down to. Yes, you're right. If there's somebody who just lays an egg but you got all these following, I think it'll be more animosity, right? More animosity, more jealousy, more, you don't deserve what you got, but if they're that popular, does it matter? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like to the wins and losses and to the way they play, but it really doesn't matter because you've introduced this employee
Yeah.
as a player.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's still going to be some figuring out around that.
Yeah. Well,
I think.
What would your approach have been? Like, I mean, you certainly would have had some NIL opportunities probably coming out of high school.
Man.
Like,
I'm going to Kirkwood. I'm going to BW3s. I'm dating myself right now.
Yeah, that's all right. People will know.
The wings were 10. Wednesdays 10 cents a wing. I'm negotiating some wings. I'm going to Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just bartering.
Yeah.
I'm going to Tracks over there or the record shop. Going to Tracks over there to get some. I gotta get my CDs and So I'm just but it's just having some fun with it, man. But yeah, I mean, interesting, because it's been an argument for a long time, and
right.
Hey man, they're selling my uniform, selling my jersey, it's just, I mean, different. And then now the next layer, kind of like what Robert talked about. Well, where's this guy not playing with it?
Yeah.
Playing good. Really doesn't matter. I mean, all you've done to me, all they've done is okay. The shoe brands or whomever, the middle people has been doing stuff like this here for ages.
Right.
Let's now put it in front of us and have them do it to where make it legal. Right? Almost like a substance that we know that's green, right? I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like put it in front of us. So I don't know if much is going to change other than the player like a TJD who has an opportunity. He's going to get somebody to come in and say, okay, hey man, talk about this. I'll give you a couple dollars.
Right.
Is it really going to change that much? I don't know.
Well, is that something that's in the back of your mind as a, developmental coach thinking about, our guy's going to come to me asking for advice or guidance in this area too? Because a lot of what you've talked about is the off the court stuff. And I mean, at least to some extent, this is going to become a part of that. I mean, even down to the high school level, some of these guys are in high school with deals and getting sponsorships and.
You just said it. No, and that's where again relationships gonna come in, because if you don't start it early, what's going to happen? Now you're gonna have this upward development of business manager tied to agent. Tied to entities that's going to, hey, we're going to, we're going to front you now. We're going to get you back on the back end, right? You're already, you're top 10, top 15, top 20 kid. So that is happening, and it's happening early. Those conversations are happening like the next 5-6 years are being mapped out. Some of these players that are, considered, the next up and coming in the NBA, in the WNBA. Right. So you're right. Those conversations are happening. So I think the earlier on, if you know about that, like I had several players, hey, can you help me with my Twitter profile? Can you help me build my my highlight reel. Like, wow, like this is all about the show for dough.
Huh. Yeah, that's why.
It's
that's
a different
wild.
approach.
Yeah, that's
but
a different
but
approach.
now, I can't say as a purist, oh man, you cheating the game. No, that's how the game's called now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing you were talking about with the UCLA. Yeah,
The game's it's the game now. You have to understand the game or be left behind.
Right. That makes sense.
All right, so changing it a little bit, if you were able to draft 5 players from IU's past that you would take for NIL, the top 5 that you think would be the biggest money earners, who would they be?
I like this because it's not necessarily the best. It's a way of getting at the GOAT, like
most money makers.
Yeah.
Most money makers.
Yeah.
I would go with like crowd favorites.
Who you got?
Moye?
Me.
Yes.
Me one.
I like it. I like the confidence.
Yeah.
Me one. Cause I would work the crowd. I'll be working everybody. I'll be kissing babies. I'll be going everywhere.
Yeah.
Me, and then I would go with Andre Patterson. You know why? Because he can sing.
Yes.
I don't know if you know that. Like,
I didn't know that. I knew Oladipo could sing. I didn't know.
Andre. Funny story. If you guys can find it, it'd be great.
Okay.
Andre's song, the Indiana. He did that in Japanese or Chinese.
What? Okay.
Yes.
I'll find that.
Okay.
Yes, you got to find it. You got to find it. And I remember he went to the studio and everything. And we had some type of program going at the same time, IU, and whether it's foreign exchange or something. So I would go with Andre because he can really sing. He might parlay that into a singing career or a contract. 3, I would say Michael Lewis.
All right. Jasper, that's where we're at right now. Jasper, Indiana, that's his hometown.
Yeah, I'll give you some shout. I know you guys at. I think Michael Lewis because I think Mike. 4. Trying to get like not the names that we would think of.
I like it. You're giving deep cuts.
I would go Richard Mandeville.
All right. Mandeville.
I think he might have bar sponsors.
Yes.
Well,
a lot of money there in Bloomington.
He owns several bars.
Does it? All right.
If I'm correct.
That checks
in
out.
California.
There you go. That checks out. Then.
So I would go with Richard. And then I would go with, last but not least, the mask, Harris Uzinovich.
Yes.
Those masks would sell like crazy, bro.
Oh my gosh! You even got a product ready for him too.
Do you know the story about the mask? Do you know about it? Do you know the story? Are you ready for it?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so here it is. So Harris is in practice screening, and I wish you guys could see me, man. Golly. But Harris was locking arms with players as you came off of him as he was setting screens. So imagine, Robert, you're trying to play defense against Aaron. And I just happen to lock your arm to where you can't get by me, right?
Yeah.
And he just happened to do it several times against Sharon Wilkinson.
It's almost like the old man move, you know.
And the shoving and pushing got going. And I kid you not, guys. Coach Knight said, y'all want to fight? You want to fight? We built the ring around center court.
Oh, my gosh.
Sometimes all right, let's go. We built the ring. That's how it happened.
Oh, that is crazy.
That's amazing.
Can you? So literally, think about this. Like I don't even think twice about it. But like when you start talking about it, like man, what the heck? Dude, we built a ring.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to get it out, man. I played sports long enough to know.
I don't even know where it came from, Aaron. You're talking about, gotta get it out. Where it came from?
Do you use that in your training?
No.
You guys got an octagon?
No.
I'm total. I've learned what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
Not saying it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But anyway, again, that's how we played the game back then.
Right.
That's how it was. It is what it is. I don't care what anybody says. He got away with it because he was winning. and who he
Yep.
was. I'm not saying it was right or wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not.
The game
But
evolved.
that's how it was.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can go to any coach at that time, would do certain things that, today, but nowhere in the world, a player and their mom won't send their son and daughters to those schools. But that was the way 25 plus years ago.
Yep. No doubt about it. Thank you for listening to the 19-9 podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do. And while you're at it, leave us a rating or review. 5 stars only, like the basketball camp. We also have links to all of 19-9 social media so you never miss a release. Until next time.